Hello, and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I want to make you aware of a couple of things as we get into this next run, outside of my lunch saying hello. First things first, it is very, very hot where I am right now. It's like 92 degrees outside with a high amount of humidity, which I'm sure some of you are saying, 90 degrees, those are rookie numbers, Dark Sage. Yeah, but keep in mind where I live. I live in Minnesota. Minnesota is synonymous with cold, so it being 90 degrees is a little more than I'm used to handling. So I bring that up because I am going to be leaving the air conditioner on while I'm recording, and I want you guys to let me know if you can hear its droning in the background, because if that is the case, then I will not have it on for future recordings. I just wanted to make sure we were all aware of that in case you can hear it in the background, and I would like you to let me know. The other thing is, today is going to be a good day for the games that I've been playing. And even outside of Elden Ring, which I've really been having fun with again. I guess why would you ever not have fun with Elden Ring? But I also just saw that there have been new characters added to another couple of roguelike games that I play. BlazBlue Entropy Effect got a new character, and Oblivion Override got a new character. So, good day for updates on the roguelite front. And today's music choice is classic soundtrack. Alright, so as you probably guessed by the title of the video, we are jumping back into the Signature Arcana Spotlight series. We are going to start with electricity. Now, electricity has some very odd choices. That's the thing, some of these are very good at what they do. That's right, buddy. You know what you're talking about. But you'll notice that you almost never see me use them. And there's a reason for that. I'm not the biggest fan of the electric options for signature spells. Alright, had to get a drink. But why is that? Some of the spells seem really powerful. Well, let's start with Deferred Dynamo. This is a very awkward spell at the best of times, but then you upgrade it, and it does that, which is just really weird. I don't know any other way to say it, it's just weird. But it does have that very interesting pull effect that happens from a range. But it's big, and my big issue with it is that it only really hits reliably one enemy at a time. So with that in mind, we could use it with kind of a forward-moving multi-hit melee and do an interesting Dark Katana build with that. And I think that's what we're going to do today. But what are some really good forward-moving Dark Katana options? Well, there's Rushing Typhoon. And I think that one could be a lot of fun. There's also Burn Cycle. And I'll show you that one real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Inferno Cannon is also a nice forward-moving Dark Katana option. There's really no shortage of these. So it's just a matter of what do you feel comfortable using. So, I think with that in mind, what I'm going to do... There you go. I think I'm going to go with my first instinct and go Burn Cycle. So then essentially you've got that as your combo. Now we need ourselves a good melee, like Bladed Vine. And lastly, our dash. What do we want to use as our dash? Now, if you ask me, what we could really use is something that's good at covering our tracks. So Frostwing is a good choice, Frost Feint is a good choice. Entangling Vines is a very interesting choice, because what'll happen there is it'll drag enemies into us. But we already have an option that's dragging enemies into us, so we kind of don't need that. I'm actually looking for something a little bit more on the defensive side of things, just to make sure that we have our bases covered. And I think... I don't use Frostwing all that often, let's use that. And because we were talking Dark Katana, let's just go boop. And... we're not going to change relics from the book, genius. Alright, I think we're good to go. And that is going to be the crux of our build. Now, I don't use Deferred Dynamo all that often, but I will admit I've grown a bit of a soft spot for Arcana that pull enemies towards you. But in this case, it doesn't pull enemies towards you, it pulls them towards the ball of electricity that you create, and just goes ham on the properties of magnetics. So, I hope you guys are looking forward to this. I am, not because I know it's going to be powerful or anything, there's a reason I don't really gravitate towards Deferred Dynamo. But it's also been a while since I've used this spell, and I'm really hoping that it's kind of an maybe not an unsung hero, but maybe a hidden gem. Something that I've put aside for a while and haven't really thought about, and that can really pull some weight when I try it with this combination of skills. And that is partly what the Arcana Spotlight series has been all about for me, is experimenting with new things and ideas. Or in this case, old things that I haven't used in a while, because frankly, I've kind of been thinking, yeah, who cares? Alright, and we're going to want to start with Atlas. And we're good. Let's go. Let's give this a shot. Yes, right, sir. Wow, that was quick. You almost never see something happening that quick. Well, obviously we want to upgrade that. A present immediately? What kind of run is this? Okay, so... I'm going to want to avoid Shearing Chain. Honestly, Cascading Blitz is probably about the best choice there. And I don't know about the others. I think we'll grab Shock Assault. We'll just kind of go all in on our current plan and see how it works out. So, as you can see, the plan in and of itself isn't necessarily horrible, but it does... But it's obviously going to take some getting used to. And with Deferred Dynamo being the setup spell and not necessarily the powerful linchpin, it's gonna be kind of an awkward one. Alright, we're definitely going to want the Spice Rack. I think that's pretty much non-negotiable. And fortunately, beating up Taffy gave us enough money to do that. So, part of the problem that I'm noticing is that it's not a great setup spell. Like, that's one of the things that I really like about, like, Aqua Vortex, is that it's a very good setup spell because it synergizes so well with the rest of the plan that I usually have going on with that spell. That, and it's only ever reliably hitting one enemy at a time. Getting it to hit more than one enemy is not something that it's good at, so I find myself ignoring it in favor of my other options most of the time. And let's face it, spells like Burn Cycle and Cascading Blitz are already really good entry tools. Like, this is weird. Like, this spell is occupying two spots that... Now, obviously, it's doing enough against a single target, but this is not good in rooms. And even though well, no, I'm not that Cecil. Don't put words into my mouth. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So even though I am quite a stickler for how well a spell performs in boss battles, because generally rooms aren't usually that difficult, I do say that with a bit of bias, and I realize that you're going to be dealing with rooms more so than you will be just about anything else in this game. So let's look. Considering how much damage I'm generally going to be taking during this run, I think the heavy travel jacket is a good choice. And I'll probably come back for the unicorn tail, because why not? Hey, I don't necessarily want to lose Burn Cycle, but it's not the biggest deal if I do. Ended up going back for that sooner than I thought it would. Now, obviously, that opens up the door for the unicorn disguise. But now let me get back to what I was saying, which is that Deferred Dynamo is kind of occupying this like weird middle ground between two different playstyles. The melee combo playstyle and the long-range playstyle. And obviously that works out just fine in boss fights, where you can split the difference between those two playstyles and use one, in this case the Dynamo Bird. Hey! I'm telling you. Yes, I am recording early afternoon, so just make sure we're all on the same page there. Yeah, the secondary tractor beam just hits at such a short range that it's really hard to hit secondary enemies with it. Like, even just by accident. Like, it's such an awkward spell. Like, its entire MO is just to help you lead into your other spells. But it doesn't drag the enemies all the way to you, hence why I'm using more movement-based options. But then comes the other problem, which is it doesn't really synergize with the rest of the build. Again, not a huge problem. I've always been one to state that even in melee builds, you should consider having some long-range control, so that's not my issue. The issue is that it just doesn't synergize well with anything. Like, long-range control usually involves you being able to... I figured that might be the case, but we got critical placebo, so completely worth it. Then what do I want to use in its place? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this here, and then we'll just see what comes up later. But yeah, as I was saying, this isn't even long-range control. It's like it's like it's a weird long-range combo option that I don't really understand. And maybe that's just on me. Okay, we'll take that. It is melee, so it will work with what I have. Alright, beautiful. We'll also just grab this as a lovely little backup option and something to sacrifice later should I come across the Mimic or Premiere. There we go. Alright, that was a little harder than I wanted it to be, but oh well, I got the job done. Alright, so now let me get back to what I was saying. The reason why I'm saying it doesn't synergize well is because it's not really a long-range control option. It's a single-target long-range combo option. It just means that anything that it does, something else could potentially do better. So this just feels like a weird, awkward middle ground. I hate you guys so much. Oh, well, there's that unicorn disguise I was talking about earlier. And I did see the Hunter Stiletto, I just don't have the money for it right away. Ow. doing your stupid shield bash with your friggin' heater shield. So I think the biggest problem plaguing Deferred Dynamo is A, its identity crisis and the idea that it clearly doesn't know what it wants to be. And two, the idea that it only really ever solidly affects one target at a time. Which, you know, makes it great for one-on-one fights, but... Which I guess to me means that this might be one of those spells that occupies that space of being better for PvP fights. But yeah, for PvE purposes, not great. I am not sure what I want. I know that Blazing Larry isn't going to be great no matter what, but I'm also thinking right now Spice Rack is not having it as great of an effect as I would like. And again, maybe I'm overthinking things. Alright, let's go back for that Hunter Stiletto. Okay, can this rogue finally go away now? So yeah, admittedly, Deferred Dynamo is kind of... Oh, great. We now have two groups of enemies aggroed at once. What fun! Okay, that was... It's unnecessarily stressful just because Deferred Dynamo is so... It's lacking in areas that I need it to be strong in. And yes, you could potentially say that's on me for choosing to use the retro floor plan. But you'll notice I didn't have a lot of complaints with even some of the other ones that I thought I was going to have a hard time with. Ugh. Well, that's a shame, but you can't win them all. This is one of those runs that was that I theorized I was going to have trouble from the start. And yeah, you can now clearly see why. Deferred Dynamo is one of those things that is almost exclusively for like boss fights and PvP duels. It does precisely what it wants you to do there, and essentially dares you to ask anything else of it. I dared to ask something else of it, and it was like, alright, well, your funeral, and it was indeed. So even though the rest of the run around it was strong, it's just... I don't know, not a big fan of Deferred Dynamo, never was. I was hoping to see something different in it from this run, but that wasn't going to happen. And admittedly, part of that was hubris on my behalf. I saw an opening, I tried to take it, and then ended up getting punished hard for it. So that's my bad, but even still, I'm not a fan of Deferred Dynamo. But hopefully our next Arcana will be better. Hopefully. Like, this is one of the elements of Signature Arcana that I think is kind of lacking, so hopefully we find some good electric stuff. If you guys want me to try Deferred Dynamo again, let me know, either in the comments or on my Discord, where I'm generally looking for stuff. And hey, I hope you all enjoyed this run, as little of it as there was. I appreciate you coming and spending your free time here with me today. It really does mean a lot to me, so thank you very much. I hope you have a beautiful day, or rest of your day, I should say. And I will catch you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and you take care, everybody.